Well, my name is Mike Riccardi. I'm the pastor of local outreach ministries at Grace Community Church here in Los Angeles, California. And it means I oversee about 24 outreach ministries in our local community where we seek to preach the gospel to those who do not yet know Christ. I also co-shepherd an adult fellowship group, like a large Sunday school class, alongside Phil Johnson. That group is called Grace Life, so it's a Sunday school class of about 450 adults, and we meet every Sunday morning, and there's preaching and teaching and worship and the duties of pastoral ministry, counseling, membership. I also get to teach part-time at the Master's Seminary as a faculty associate in the theology department, and I'm a current PhD student working on a PhD in theology. So life is busy, but it's full of good things. Well, the design for the book flowed out of my own preaching ministry as I was preaching through Philippians, and I was getting to chapter 2, verses 12 and 13 about sanctification. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling, for it is God who works in you to both will and to work for His good pleasure. And in that verse, you see the dual reality of man's needed work and effort and God's underarching and overarching grace in sanctification. And at the time that I wrote it, there was a lot of confusion over man's role and God's role in sanctification. If it's God's work to sanctify His people, what does that mean? Do we sit back and let go and let God and wait for Him to zap us to holiness? Or do we just work really hard and grit our teeth and clench our fists and push and strive after holiness as if God isn't working in us at all? And there was confusion. There were a lot of people who were saying, no, salvation is a work of God, and so you just sit back and relax, and you think about justification, and you think that God has saved you and He loves you, and when you do that, you'll just get better naturally. And that's not right. But what happened is the pendulum swung, and the other error in the opposite direction was, no, you just work, fight, and don't worry about it. You just work like it all depended on you. And that's wrong too. It does depend on your effort to avail yourselves of the means of grace, but it doesn't all depend on you, because God is at work at the same time as we are at work. He is at work in our working. And so it was a bit of a difficulty for normal believers to try to understand, how do I fight for holiness in a way that honors the grace of God?